Hi, I'm Ryan Glaser, and welcome to Hollywood, Milwaukee. Being a citizen of Milwaukee, or Wisconsin in general, have you ever wondered why so many films are made in typical states like New York and California? It seems Wisconsin isn't the most popular of locations to shoot mainstream films. Besides the 2009 film Public Enemy starring Johnny Depp, when was the last time you heard about a Hollywood-type movie being made in our state? I mean, let's face it, does anyone besides us even know Wisconsin exists? I have to say, I can't blame anyone unless there's a film being made that's on a farm, or perhaps somebody running through an endless open field. I got it. How about a film that's about Milwaukee residents and their epic love for beer and the Brewers? Or even the same plot with residents in Green Bay and their plan for mass suicide when Brett Favre left. Maybe that's a little too far-fetched, but still the question remains, why aren't we attracting anyone for a film production in Wisconsin? Perhaps it has something to do with Wisconsin's diminishing film incentive. Despite the fact that not many mainstream films are being made here, it hasn't stopped independent filmmakers from doing what they love. Today, we will talk with our special guest, Rex Sykes, a producer, actor, and motivational speaker from Hollywood. But first, we'll show you a clip of a video highlight of one of Milwaukee film festivals that was held last October. Let's take a look.
I'm at the film festival partially because I have friends who are participating in it, like Mark Metcalf and others. And partially, because, more importantly, I live in Wisconsin now, and I have projects that I want to do in Wisconsin using Wisconsin talent, both in front of and behind the camera. And I'm excited about being here, and I'm very excited about what I'm discovering. I know it's been here for a long time, but I'm discovering the talent that's here.
Tonight I'm here as part of the cast of Ward 3. I'm here as an attendee of the film festival. I'm here in my official capacity as Rex Sykes Movie Beat, which is, again, I work with, I interview, I talk to filmmakers, and I'm here to have fun. It's a good time.
Yes, popcorn, candy, and a show seems inviting indeed, mainstream or not. With us is Rex Sykes, a producer, actor, and motivational speaker from Hollywood. He has co-starred in multiple independent films, such as the Spade County Massacre, the cult classic Massacre at Central High, and the upcoming film Horrid. He also has his own radio show available online and podcast called Rex Sykes Movie Beat. You can find that on his website at www.rexsykes.com. Rex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Rex, you've lived in Hollywood for the majority of your life and has been living in Milwaukee now for the past 20 years or so. What's the what brought you into the film industry?
A simple childhood wish. I was 4 years old, 5 years old. I loved movies. I would watch movies with my mom. I said, I want to act. I want to be in movies. And as soon as I was of age, meaning 18, where I could do anything I wanted, I pursued a full-time career in the motion picture business, became a SAG-AFTRA actor and worked both in front of camera and behind camera.
Okay.
And then I moved here to raise children. I've got kids that are here. I'm raising them, and I've been here a while, and decided that if I had to live out the rest of my days here, which may or may not be, but if I had to live out the rest of my days, I wanted to make sure that Wisconsin had a climate for filmmaking, an industry here that was viable, because when I moved here, I had a difficult time locating and finding filmmakers. Not that they weren't here, they just weren't very visible.
Sure. So now, have you had any trouble within Wisconsin finding work or finding various projects to do.
Well, I mean, it's always trouble finding work in Wisconsin.
Sure.
I mean, it's hard to find work in Hollywood. I mean, to be honest, you could live in Hollywood your whole life and never work in a movie or on television.
Sure.
Because that's just the nature of that beast. Here we have a smaller community. Mm-hmm. And it's just as hard to get work because there aren't that many projects. There's not funding for projects. There isn't the visibility of the film industry here. And as you mentioned in your intro, they're not clamoring to come in yet. Mm-hmm. And they should be. We got a lot of great things. They just haven't had that opportunity extended to them. That invitation was extended and then withdrawn. We'll talk about probably later. But, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. And it's hard for independent filmmakers here to get their projects started and to work through them and then to get them done and completed and distributed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we were talking earlier, and you were saying about how some actors have to be kind of like nomads, where you'll move to one city for a couple of months, and you may have to move overseas or to a different country to get work for that. So, but Wisconsin is definitely a good starting base, at least, or being from Hollywood anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, actors, I mean, go from job to job to job wherever that job is. Right now, the way it's set up throughout the states is that Hollywood, California proper, is having a tough time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so is Wisconsin. Other states are doing quite well. So if you can move to those states and you don't have a family, you can move around nomadically, that's awesome.
Sure. So you had mentioned the 2008 Wisconsin Film Incentive. Could you briefly explain a bit about that for our viewers that may not be aware of it?
Sure. Some very forward-thinking individuals in around 2006 decided that they could invite business opportunity into the state of Wisconsin, which would be a win-win. It would give Hollywood a reason for being here. Mm-hmm. It would give them some financial incentive for coming here by having a lower cost to their production, meaning that they could actually work and produce and get their movies made here. And then it also had a mutual benefit to the citizens of the state of Wisconsin. The residents here could benefit by working in movies. As a brief example, if a movie crew came and set up on the street outside the studio or one of your viewers' homes, mm-hmm. You would have to rent policemen and firemen and traffic control. You would have the local cleaners doing costume and wardrobe. You would have caterers. You would have the local 7-Eleven supplying Coke and cigarettes and whatever to the crew that would come in from out of state. You'd have hotels being filled. You'd have car rentals. You'd have truck rentals. You'd have equipment rentals. You'd have electricians' construction. You'd have Kinko's making scripts. I mean, in other words, it's not that just the movie industry benefits, but that the money they spend is spread through the community in order to create and complete this project. So a lot of everyone gets a portion of what's happening, some more than others. I mean, you're going to hire cast, you're going to hire crew, you're going to hire people who would work the production full time. Restaurants have an increased boon. I mean, so it definitely benefits the community. It definitely benefits the residents of the state. And in 2008, legislation was passed, which meant that Wisconsin would offer a tax incentive or tax break to movie companies that qualified for specific items below the line, which means there are certain production costs which are included in that. And then there are elements of a movie production which are not included. So it's not like you're giving a break to an entire movie, you're giving a break to specific line items in a budget. And Public Enemies was one of the movies that had the opportunity to utilize the incentives. Mm-hmm. It was also the movie that was the one that created all of the dispute over the incentives between the Department of Commerce and the Office of the Governor. Mm-hmm. During that year of 2008, we had 25 different productions, many movies, TV shows that came into this state because we were recognized then as a very film-friendly state. The climate of, hi, come on in, check us out, come on in, do business, we'll work something out, was extended at that time. Mm-hmm. As of the summer of 2009, they pulled the carpet out from under that, said, no more incentives, we're done, we're not going to do this, goodbye, Hollywood, go away and don't come back. And as a result, Hollywood went away and didn't come back, except for No God, No Master, which was a Hollywood production that was here in 2009. So from 2008 to 2009, we saw 24 less productions. Plus, we also had the opportunity to have a TV series called The Good Wife, which they wanted to shoot here. They asked the Department of Commerce numerous times to petition them to let them come in and shoot. The pilot itself being a $3 million project, a series, if it went, would be $33 million in the first year, and due to an unresponsiveness of our state government, they went to Vancouver, which is to Vancouver, I believe, which is where many productions go because they can't afford to shoot inside the 50 states. Sure. States like Michigan, New Orleans, New Mexico, Connecticut, Massachusetts, have incentives, Iowa, and not that they don't have problems in administering these things, because as in any business, there sometimes are economic issues and concerns, things that need to be worked out, nuts and bolts that aren't going proper, whatever. But you try it, you work it, you smooth it out, you get it so it's a nice working model, and you could look at it this way. We had a potential meteor shower of film business coming toward Wisconsin as of 2008 with the passage of the incentives. We could have caught the lion's share of that in our way, and not so forward thinking, removed those incentives, and they went to Michigan, they went to Iowa, they go to New Orleans, they go to New Mexico, they go everywhere but Wisconsin.
So as of now, there's no, at least until the next election, there's no plan on any more Wisconsin incentives.
It'll be a while. What we hope is that we have, again, forward-thinking, positive-thinking visionaries that will be elected to the office of governor, whoever that may be, and that they are film-friendly and that they want to see business and industry grow within our state. I mean, we've driven enough business out of the state, not only the film business. It's time to capture that back. It's time that the residents of Wisconsin benefit by the policies of our elected officials. Sadly, I don't think we've done that well in the past, and I'm looking forward to this year's election, and hopefully we elect people who will move us forward and keep us moving forward. And then by 2011, maybe we would be able to rethink and redraft some legislation that makes the likelihood of outside business investing in our communities a whole lot more possible.
Okay, sure. So which films or projects have you done in Wisconsin that you were particularly proud of, or have maybe helped the Wisconsin movie scene?
Well, there's a lot. You know, the gentleman you showed in the film festival footage, Ronald Coleman, is a producer. He's done a lot of work in television and film. He has a production company here in the state of Wisconsin. He's working on projects, and unfortunately I get to work with him, so I'm very happy about that. There's a movie that I think you're going to show a little clip of called Spade County Massacre. By the way, I should name all of my movies. They should all just have the word massacre in the title. They should have Romance Massacre, Pet Dog Massacre, whatever. But anyway, there's a movie I'm doing called Broken Orbit that's directed by a local man called named Patrick Beck. It's a sci-fi picture that I'm very pleased with. There's the Amateur Monster movie by a local, Kyle Richards, who's directing that. There's Port of Call, a comedy by director Glenn Popple. So those are some of the movies that I'm either starring in or appearing in. I've done a lot of movies. The difficulty is for these people to find financing to get their projects done, and then to find distribution as a result of not having all the dollars they need in order to create their product and market their product.
Sure.
But there are fabulously talented filmmakers here, and I'm happy whenever I can work with any of them. And there's ones that I've yet to meet, and I'm looking forward to meeting them.
Sure. Now, do you do any behind-the-camera work? Do you do any writing or producing or any of that?
I do producing. I do some directing. I'm looking forward to hopefully directing a feature film in the coming year that I've been asked to direct. I do acting. I do some writing, not as much. My goal with filmmakers right now is I'll pull cables for you if I need to, because I want to see projects started and completed here in the state. We've got great resources for Hollywood if they're listening. We've got wonderful scenery. We've got a large city or a couple large cities. We've got great rural areas. We've got a big lake. We've got a marvelously beautiful spring through fall.
Yeah, four seasons.
And we've got winter.
Right.
And movies like Nephilim, which is trying to be made here, has not yet been done, but Project Solitude was shot during the winter. With Eric Roberts. Susan Moses produced that. Feed the Fish was shot here during the winter time. It starred Tony Shalhoub. And, so Hollywood could come in anytime during the year, and we can make movies anytime during the year right here in Wisconsin. So it's a good place to make movies. We just want to do more of it. We want to do legitimate work where everyone is paid a good wage so that they can support their families.
Sure, yeah. Get the Wisconsin name out there, I guess.
get the Wisconsin name out there, get these talented people. You got to go to Hollywood ultimately. You've got to make a name, here and then go somewhere so that you can become a commercial success. Robert Rodriguez in Texas comes to mind, or you think of Quentin Tarantino or any of these people who make it. So there are great filmmakers here who can have that kind of success. They need the opportunity and they need support.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now your radio show, Rex Sykes Movie Beat.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the types of people you'll have on the show, and what do you typically talk about in there?
I'm really proud of the radio show because it's a nuts and bolts how-to show for filmmakers and TV makers, or even webisode makers.
Mm-hmm.
I have everyone from executive producers to craft service. It's a behind-the-scenes how-to. It's a resource for people who want to learn what to do and what not to do to get their projects made. Mm-hmm. So I have name talent, name actors, people you'd recognize, people like Kevin Sorbo, who was on television for years as Hercules, Brian Krause, who's Leo on Charmed, Drusilla from Buffy the Vampire Slayer is coming up. Juliet Landau, Martin Landau's daughter, is going to be on the show in coming weeks. And incredible talent behind the camera. Scott Rosenfeld produced Home Alone and Mystic Pizza and a slew of movies. Ted Hope is an independent producer, produced over 61 feature films like 21 Grams, The Tao of Steve's, worked with incredible talent. But the goal is to give everyone who works in the movie business behind camera a voice and to let the listener learn from them. So whether it's a makeup artist or a hairstylist or a gaffer, a lighting person or a sound engineer, those are the kinds of people who are on Rex Sykes Movie Beat.
Sure. Is there any particular person you would like to have on the show?
Oh, I want
Anyone
them all.
Sure.
I want them all. Everybody can be on my show. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't think of a name off the top of my head that I would mention, but I'm constantly in talks with people. They come out of the woodwork and ask to be on the show. Mm-hmm. I started with my friends and my own contacts, and I'm still going through that list, but more and more people are coming and saying, I'd like to be on your show, I'd love to be on your show, and here's what I do. People send me books and tapes and different things and to try and introduce themselves to me. So, and I get calls and I get emails from India and around the world. So, I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
Bollywood is doing fairly well. So, I mean, it's always interesting to have a world audience. And again, it's a free resource, available for people as a podcast, mm-hmm. so that they can do better with making their movies and learn from people who are actually doing it. And that is the key.
Right. Okay. Is there any project that you're particularly proud of? Any single project, movie, or anything you've done, play, that you?
You mean recently? I'm proud of a lot of them.
At all, throughout your whole career?
Well, throughout my whole career, sure there are. But I've done TV, I've done movies in Hollywood, I've done big things and small things. I've done things that have never seen the light of day that are sitting on some shelf somewhere if they still exist. Mm-hmm. They've never come out. That's just part of the business. But locally, I'm real proud of a movie called Spade County Massacre, which I think we're going to show a little bit of it later.
Sure.
That's a local guy's vision. It's a scary horror flick, kind of grindhouse 70s kind of feel to it. So I'm excited by that. I think it's going to look good, and I think it's going to be a good movie. Broken Orbit, I think, has a lot of good promise. It's Patrick Beck's sci-fi movie. It's looking beautiful and mm-hmm. shot beautifully, and it's about aliens at the edge of the universe keeping an eye on us while we keep an eye on them. I play a think tank leader who thinks they're up to maybe nefarious means, and maybe they are.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. All right, so you were recently in a play called Baggage. Could you explain a bit about that?
I could. It was at Memories Ballroom. They're up in Port Washington, Wisconsin, and they have a website I want to tell you about. It's memoriesballroom.com, because they do lots of productions. And I was in a recent production called Baggage, in which I played Dr. Jonathan Alexander, a licensed professional psychologist with degrees from several prestigious universities. And it was fun. I had a great cast of people. Lori Minetti, Luke Kramer, Lynn Klemp, all very fabulous, directed by Jim Iaquinta, mm-hmm. all local people who are very talented. The play was very fun, and it was dinner theater. Mm-hmm. And I tell everyone to go up to Memories Ballroom and have a dinner and see a production.
Is there quite a big difference between acting on stage and acting in front of a camera?
Oh, yeah, and in terms of acting on camera, you have to reduce things because the camera is closer. You don't have to exude and overact, which you do in stage, so that people can mm-hmm. see or hear you. There's a live audience. You can't do it again. It's live. I mean, so in a movie, you might do it 10, 15, 20 times. I mean, so there's a big difference between movies. In movies, go over the course of months, where a play goes over the course of some hours after rehearsal. So.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. And do you have you ever? I'm sorry. The last film you were in, the Spade County Massacre. Could you explain a bit about that there?
Sure. Well, I did a little bit already. That it's a horror flick. It's directed by Dean Chapman. It's got a fabulous cast and crew. You're going to see a scene with me. I play Sheriff Stone Williams, who's from a long line of sheriffs inside Spade County. And my deputy, Sean Monahan, and I, in the clip that you're going to see, we're chatting about something that takes place. But I should say also, Sean Monahan and Phil Cook are responsible for Firestarter Films, which is an outlet for local filmmakers and video artists and artists of all kinds to display their wares. And Sean, who is the founder, one of the founders with Phil of Firestarter, is my co-star in the film.
Okay, sure. And have you? So in the past couple, how long do these projects typically take? If you
Well, the difference between a Hollywood production, a funded Hollywood production, and a local independent production can be the difference between months and years. In other words, if you're working with a director here who has to have another day job in order to feed his family, and he's making a movie, you might be working weekends. And I worked on one movie, it took a year on like Thursday nights and Fridays and Saturdays. If you're working in Hollywood where it's all funded, it tends to be compressed. You might be done in 2-3 weeks or 3 months or something like that. So there's, Spade County has been going for a couple of years now in terms of making this movie and getting it done. It's been a real labor of love for Dean.
So where can people find this movie?
Well, the movie's not out yet. We're still, we wrapped principal photography, but I'm also producing on this film, and we've decided to go back, the director's wisdom, go back and shoot some additional scenes, which the director has written. We've discussed it, and to add some scenes. So we expect that we'll finish filming by summer, and hopefully, because we're now technically in post-production, that the film will be available later in the year, whether it goes direct to video or whether it gets a theatrical release, we don't really know yet.
Okay.
I mean, that's still coming down the pike.
Are there information on these films on your website?
Well, they can go to spadecounty.com, which it's a great site to go. They can go to Rex Sykes Movie Beat and learn all about different movies and blogs. They can check out my Facebook page, and they'll see more information and more groups that they could join if they're interested. So.
Okay. We have a clip here now from Spade County Massacre. Could you tell us a bit about this clip here?
Well, it is I and Sean and I are discussing, there's a series of killings that occur in Spade County, obviously Spade County Massacre. And I'm trying to investigate it, and the sheriff and Deputy Tucker are talking about a potential suspect. And I'm tending to be I'm discounting it, I guess is the way to put it.
Okay.
And I'm eating. You'll see me eat.
Yeah, sure.
As a slovenly eater I am.
Okay, let's take a look.
I wasn't there, but the evidence clearly states Charlie committed suicide.
Blew his head clear off. I mean, you think today was bad? Charlie's brains and his skull all over the ceiling. Teeth in the carpet. He blew his eye clean out, intact.
Okay. So this again is the one that will be coming out soon here. Do you have a preference for horror movies? I mean, it seems
I've done a lot of them. And the thing is, Horrid. Didn't mention Horrid, which you did earlier, by James Pronath. I played Dr. Roberts in that, a guy trying to investigate the. I'm trying to find the treatment for a virus that's been released, and I'm infected myself. But no, I mean, horror is a great genre. I'm not particular to it. It's probably easier for most filmmakers to break in doing a horror flick, and because I have background in Hollywood and some screen cred to my name and that kind of stuff, that I get cast in a lot of these movies. And as I said, I'm happy to help out. And you know, I like working here. I like working in Hollywood. I like working wherever the film business would take me. So,
Okay.
whenever and wherever.
Any particular kind of film you would like to be in, other than the horror genre? Or?
Oh, I would love to work with David Lynch. He's one of my favorites. I would, if it were television, I would love to be on Rescue Me, which is Peter Tolan. He's a guest on my show. He's the executive producer of that. I mean, I think that is superb television. You know, that kind of cast and crew. I would have loved to have been in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So you're talking about, I was here. I wasn't, you know, active at the time in Hollywood. So, I mean, there are things that I like. There's a lot of good television, a lot of good movies that do intrigue me.
So would you like to get back out to Hollywood one day and continue your career there?
I miss Hollywood every single day. I miss the ambiance, the mountains, the ocean, the desert, the city. But I'm raising my family here, and I'm happy to be here for my children. And if I end up retiring in Hollywood, that'd be fantastic.
All right, very good. You can find out more about upcoming projects and even listen to some of Rex Sykes' interviews on his own radio show at www.rexsykes.com. Thank you for watching Hollywood Milwaukee. Thank you very much, Rex, for joining us.
Thank you.